Cut open. So notice there's just different layers to it. You have this outer layer, and you have a kind of a bluish layer and a reddish layer. So think of a tennis ball or something. There's 3 layers to this eyeball. It's hollow. What do we call the outermost layer? Fibrous tunic. Tunic means coat or covering. So it's a tough covering, fibrous tunic. So your fibrous tunic is the outer layer of your eyeball. Bottom page. So now there's some wording. What do you call the white part, number 30? That's white on the fibrous tunic. That's your sclera. The white of your eye is the sclera. That's part of the fibrous tunic. What do you call this clear thing, number 6, which is clear on the outside of my eye? That's your cornea. So the cornea and sclera together form the fibrous tunic. Yeah. Make sense? So the tunic's the whole layer, and then we have a sclera and cornea that make up the 2 halves. So what do we call the blue layer, number 10? Uvea? The uvea, also known as the vascular tunic. I learned the second one. That's what I learned. So the vascular tunic and uvea are exactly the same thing. So let me show you a different view, just so you don't think I'm making this up. So number 10. There is my vascular tunic because it has blood vessels. And we learned blood vessel words in the brain. What do you call the thing with CSF and blood in the brain? That was a what? Choroid plexus. So what do we call the layer that has the blood vessels there? That's the choroid. It has the blood. So in my vascular tunic, I have the choroid, which is the bloody part. Make sense?
Does it make fluid too?
No, well, yeah, kind of yes, but not right now. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week. You don't want to learn that right now. You'll just throw your brain into a tizzy. Okay, so now we're looking. So again, here's my blue choroid. Technically, it comes down and forms this little funny-looking thing here, number 45. And we know what 45 is? Ciliary body. That's inside my eye. The ciliary bodies are part of my my vascular tunic. If you look in the front of my eye, the same general locale, through here, I got this little flap of skin that's colored. You want to know what the colored part of your eye is called? Iris. That's your iris. That's also in that layer. What do you call the hole in the middle of your iris? That's the pupil. So that middle layer includes the choroid, the ciliaries, and the iris. All that's one layer, just with different names. So far, so good? Okay, now say the pinky part. What layer is the pinky part? The sensory layer, also called the retina. Okay, the back of your eye, that's where the nerves are. So that's where the retina or the neural layer would be.
I'm sorry, could you point to the retina again? Just all of that.
All of it. Yep, the inside layer. I'm going to spin your eyeball around one more time because I like to. So number 27 is retina, or neural layer. What do you think number 22 is? A big glass thing in there. That's the lens. That's also part of that layer. And then you got this beautiful scalloped edge that I love so much. Hint, hint. You know what the scalloping is called? The ora serrata. Serrated edge. Ora serrata. Hint, hint. I find it pretty, so it's used on the quiz.
Where was the ora serrata?
Ora serrata is the scalloping.
Oh, okay.
Because it looks slightly serrated.
Serrated. Serrata.
So is the sensory tunic is the only one that doesn't actually envelop the whole eye because it stops short at the edge of the pupil?
You can argue it stops at the lens, right?
Oh.
So the lens is kind of where it ends.
And the serrated edge is in the anterior portion of the
Right, so it's basically where the retina nerves join the lens. It kind of is where they connect, is that ora serrata. You'll see it when you look at the big eye, you'll sort of see the layering. So you got the outer layer, middle layer, and this is the innermost layer. It does make sense when you see it. But we got some things in the back of the eye, though, we have to look at. We're almost done. Let's go back to the back of my eye. Back of my eye, inside. So number 31, that is where the wiring goes out of my eye. What wire would that be out of my eye? The optic nerve. Number 2, what do you call that spot where the optic nerve goes out? Where you don't have any nerves. That's your blind spot or optic disc. When you did the blind spot test, That's where you saw nothing, because there's no wire. That's just a tube for all the plumbing. You can't see there. So that's your blind spot or optic disc. To its side, number 36, you have another little hole. That's called your macula lutea. Anyone know what you call the bump in the center of the macula lutea? The fovea centralis. That's in the center of your eye. So the fovea centralis is inside the macula lutea. So far, so good? Yeah, this is just great. All right, now let's make it really, really hard.
Oh gosh.
All right, so your eye has two general areas. From the lens, number 22, all the way to the back. That's called a cavity or a segment. Which one do you think would be from lens back to retina? Not anterior. Posterior. That's your posterior cavity or segment is from lens to the rear. What do you call lens to the cornea or lens front? Anterior cavity or segment. So lens forward anterior, lens back posterior. Is that okay?
You mean the chambers?
The cavities, not chambers. Not yet. So now after I said that, I'm going to have to draw you a picture. Otherwise you're going to get horribly lost in this.